Hello, my beautiful friends. Very excited to bring this video because we have a huge shift coming. It's one of the biggest shifts astrologically of the entire year. And this transit is going to last for a year. So on this Sunday, May 25th, we have Jupiter, the planet of abundance, miracles, religion, belief, God, gifts from God, changing signs, going from Taurus to Gemini. And just a little side note about Jupiter. How incredible is it that the planet of abundance and miracles is also the planet of beliefs and religion and God and gifts from God? It's very beautiful to think about how God and abundance go hand in hand. The universe and abundance go hand in hand. Whatever word makes you the most comfortable. And if you think about that, when we're in alignment with that, we are allowing abundance to flow, or when we are open to it. And whatever your beliefs are, totally beautiful. Super glad to have you here. Let's talk about astrology. So this Sunday, I'm super, super excited for this because Jupiter is just my favorite planet. To be fair, I could say good things about all the planets, but Jupiter is like top tier, one of the best planets, because it is just this planet that just wants to give us things and give us abundance in whatever part of the sky it's in. And so it's been in Taurus for a year. And so to understand, Jupiter takes 12 years to go back into the same zodiac sign. So it has not been in Gemini for 12 years. And then it'll stay in Gemini for about a year. And so it's been blessing the part of your chart that has to do with Taurus. And again, a little rundown is that we have our 12 zodiac signs, okay? So we have Taurus, Gemini, so on and so forth. And then we also have our 12 houses. And so what I'm going to speak to, as well as Jupiter going from Taurus to Gemini, is I'm going to speak to the 12 houses, because that'll tell you what it's going to do for you. So stay tuned and I'll explain that a little bit more and we can talk about what it's going to do for you. But let's just stick with the first layer of it, that it's going to Gemini. So it's been in Taurus, which Taurus is the zodiac of the earth and pleasure and food production, and it's very stabilizing. Taurus also has a lot to do with wanting to be safe in the human realm, so material abundance, financial abundance, which is great. So it's been blessing that part for a year. And now Jupiter is moving to Gemini. And it, again, these blessings could be happening in your personal life. They could be happening overall in the entire world. But stay tuned for me talking about the houses to hear even more about what's going on for you. But let's talk about Jupiter and Gemini, because that's the main point. Jupiter and Gemini is, no matter what zodiac sign Jupiter is in, it is a blessing. It is doing something of abundance to help that part of our chart. But so Jupiter moving into Gemini is technically a difficult place for Jupiter to be, but it's still a blessing, okay? But I'm going to explain why. Gemini is this sign of collecting facts and data and having conversations, and it's very curious and playful and childlike, and so it's a fantastic sign, but sometimes it can be going in trying to go in 70, 80 directions at once, okay? And so Gemini is about communication, whether that's talking to other people, talking to yourself, journaling. It's also about writing. It could be journalism, writing to friends, sending letters, something to do with work that's writing, or writing to yourself. It's also very interested in facts and data, which is again communication. It's very curious. It wants to know things. It wants to have different experiences by trying different things. It's very playful and childlike and fun and extroverted. Geminis are usually friendly, and you have a good time with them. But not that they can't be introverted as well. But anyways, so Jupiter moving into Gemini. Jupiter, the planet of abundance, of miracles, it wants to have something to focus on. It wants to go in one direction for our lives. and help us in one direction. And so Gemini, being this sign where it's like kind of interested in many things at once, it's just a little hard for Jupiter to focus. So we're going to talk about for you what could be happening if like what part of your chart is Jupiter blessing and giving you abundance and miracles in. And then also that's the same part of your chart that we want to pay attention to and see where are we maybe having too many focuses at once and how can we bring it in to give Jupiter the opportunity to give us abundance and miracles. And when I am talking about like where this is happening for you, this is again me referencing the houses. And so to explain a little bit more about the houses, and this is in reference to your birth chart. Right now in the sky, Jupiter is going into Gemini, which is affecting the entire world. Jupiter is giving the whole world Gemini-like themes of abundance. Beautiful conversations, beautiful curiosity for life, beautiful childlike playful fun, beautiful conversations with ourselves, the abundance of collecting facts and data, which again can also be maybe a little bit overwhelming because there's such an abundance of us wanting to go in these different directions with Gemini. So again, we want to focus it in, but to talk about where you want to focus it in your life, what themes and topics you want to focus it in your life, that's the houses. And so even though Jupiter is moving into Gemini for the world, looking at what house it's in is looking at your birth chart. So you're going to want to know your birth date, your time of birth, and your location of birth, like what city, town you were born in. And you can look that up on any different site to then, and I suggest using whole sign astrology if it gives you the option. It's just a little bit easier to understand. And then it will tell you what house Gemini was in when you were born. And so it's fun to look these things up, but then you're like, I don't always trust all the descriptions of how different websites describe things. So I'm going to kind of go into it for you. So if you want to take a moment, look up your birth chart and figure out what house it's in, what house Gemini was in when you were born. It's going to be a number 1 to 12. And then I'm going to go over what it means for each house. So then you will understand what it means for you. Your time of birth is what dictates your houses, where your houses land, with whether you're in the 1st through 12th house. And so if you don't know what time you were born, it's not like an endless, hopeless thing. It's just that you need an astrologer to help you figure it out, because it's going to be based on what traits you relate to the most, and it's also based on how old you are. So if you feel like this is something that you're struggling with, feel free to reach out. I have a link below for an astrology reading, and we can figure out your houses. And if that doesn't align with you, then you just take the information about Jupiter and Gemini, okay? And you can still listen to the houses and see if over the next year anything relates to you the most, and that could be telling of where your houses line up, okay? But if you do know your house number, I'm going to go through each one right now, which that's really the fun part. So let's start from the first house, and we'll go to the 12th house, okay? So the first house, if Gemini was in the first house when you were born, that would make you a Gemini rising. This first house is the exact same as saying rising, ascendant, any of those things. If you don't want to care about the language, don't worry about it. We'll just talk about Gemini in the first house. And so if Gemini is in your first house and Jupiter is moving into Gemini right now, this is an incredible gift for you, because the first house is the house of the self. It is who you are to the core, especially if you're over the age of 27 to 30. If not, this is still just as much of a gift for you. But what happens around 27 to 30 is you go through something that's called your Saturn return. And what that means is that you're transitioning from your sun being your main zodiac sign that affects you the most to your first house being your main zodiac sign that affects you the most. And so you're going to relate to this and you're going to feel it. You're going to feel Gemini in your first house more if you're over the age of 27 to 30. But no matter what age you are, if Gemini is in the first house, you are going to be abundantly blessed. Everybody is, but you specifically are going to be abundantly blessed in the way of yourself, of who you are. If Gemini is in your first house, something that can be happening for you your entire life is that you might always love to communicate, love to discover the world and facts and ideas, and you might have this big curiosity by just for life, okay? And then also through communication. You want to discover who you are by communicating with other people, by communicating with yourself. If Jupiter is in your first house, huge suggestion for you, if it aligns with you, is to journal. Journal frequently, maybe even in the morning. 2-3 pages a morning will be such a mind-blowing game changer for you, and you don't have to believe me, just try it. Because yourself is Gemini, and Gemini is the house of communication and writing. And because Gemini also is kind of a little distractible and can go in many directions at once, if you use writing as a tool for you, it will help you align and make progress more and go in a certain direction and figure out what direction you genuinely want to go in and go that direction. So that's just if, Gemini is in the first house for you. And then if Jupiter's coming into Gemini in the first house for you, you are going to be blessed in your self-development. Anything that helps you become self-aware, helps you to feel more in alignment with yourself, blossoming of yourself, self-love, self-confidence, self-understanding, self-direction. All of these things will be coming to you over the next year. It's going to be a year-long transit. And so it'll be something that is subtle. But when you're at the end of that year and you look back, you're going to be like, whoa, that was incredible. And you will also feel it throughout the year. You'll have certain things that take you through it. So that's Gemini in the first house. Gemini in the second house. I'm going to get excited about about Jupiter being in every house. So Gemini in the second house, what that means is second house is all about your money, your assets, your resources, the material realm, the human realm. It's like, how do you feel safe financially? How do you feel safe materially? How do you feel like you have everything you need? Okay. And so if you were born with Gemini in the second house, again, something that can help you financially, materially, and like with safety is through communication with other people, communication with yourself, and curiosity and a playful attitude towards it. Okay. That's going to be how you naturally do it. So I would lean into it, would be my suggestion, and use those tools to help you with your finances and resources. And with Jupiter here, okay, you are getting blessed in the part of your chart of finances and resources, which is always a fun thing. But again, remember, Gemini wants to take you in a million directions at once, okay? It's curious about so many things that you almost like get everything a couple steps in and then we get distracted, okay? So that could be naturally how you are with your finances and resources and safety, which can actually be a little difficult for the second house, right? The second house is like how we want to feel safe materially and financially. And if you were born with Gemini in your second house and Gemini wants to like do one step of a bunch of things, and it's hard to find direction. Again, I would recommend journaling about your finances and resources, using communication, using writing as a tool, which are Gemini's favorite things to do, to help you go in one direction and find your path. And just also be aware that financially and materially, you might have a tendency to go in a bunch of different directions. So to kind of pull it in and stick with one, just be aware that you do that and be like, okay, which one's really calling to me? Which one's my highest excitement? Which one is the universe putting serendipities along my path for? And maybe go along that one. Or at least go a couple more steps before you get distracted. And I am a Gemini in the second house, so I feel you. Okay, so with Jupiter there, then again, we're getting blessed in our finances and abundance, and we're getting abundance in the part of our chart that's finances and material resources. Amazing, right? So keep an eye out for opportunities and for things that are happening over the next year that want to help you feel more financially and materialistically and resources in a resource fulfillment way, to help you feel more abundant in those ways. And also, keep an eye out if you feel like you're being pulled in many directions, or if you have a desire to go in many directions and you're curious about going in different directions. And try again to reel it in and keep it going in one direction so that Jupiter and the universe can give you as much abundance and blessings as possible. And again, the way that you can do that is through writing, journaling, and through having conversations with yourself. Journaling, usually, if you want to talk to yourself, amazing, no judgments, and having conversations with other people too. Again, we want to make sure we're not just like constantly curious and like absorbing all the facts and ideas, and then we're overwhelmed and we don't know what direction to go in. If you feel like that's happening to you, try to just follow your intuition, follow your heart, follow your excitement, and just take one step at a time, okay? Gemini in the third house. Gemini and the third house actually go together. They align, so they have really similar themes. So if Gemini is in the third house for you, then it's the Jupiter transit is very much like what I talked about for just Jupiter being in Gemini, but of course I'll go over it again. And so Gemini in the third house for you means that the third house is all about communication. It is about not your daily routine, but your daily life. What do you live in your daily life as you're moving through the world? How do you live your daily life? And it's like almost like your moment, like what is happening in the moment for you. And so it's about communication, writing, conversations, communication with ourselves, communication with other people, and our daily life. And so if Gemini is there, then you're just like extra potent in this way. Like you love communication, okay? You love writing. You love being zoomed into your daily life. You love being in the moment. You love curiosity, facts, ideas. And also, you probably have the thing where, it affects everybody. Everybody has Gemini in their chart. Everybody has the third house in their chart. But in communication and in collecting facts, you might have a tendency to collect a lot and go in different directions and not know which direction to go with your writing, your communication sometimes. So again, following your intuition, following your heart and your excitement to try to always pick the direction to keep taking steps in rather than getting distracted and going in a new one. And so Jupiter is just going to be blessing this part of your life. Jupiter is going to be blessing your conversations, your curiosity, your childlike fun and play and friendliness. It is going to be blessing your conversations, your writing. So again, like the way that you could work with this is really lean into play, really lean into that childlike fun, have a lot of fun, and watch how much it brings abundance into your life and brings gifts from the universe into your life. Also, your curiosity, lean into your curiosity. Again, be careful to not go in a million rounds at once and then get overwhelmed. Follow the thing that makes you the most excited, and Jupiter will bless you through that, through that information. And that could be any topic. Also, your conversations and your writing. This would be a great time to lean into journaling, which is a conversation with yourself and writing, to conversations with friends and family, to having, if you feel called to get a therapist or a coach, this is a great year to lean into conversations with somebody else, because again, Jupiter can bless you in that part of your chart and bring miracles of every topic, of all different self-growth. So love Jupiter in the third house. Jupiter in the fourth house. So if Gemini is in the fourth house for you, what that means is that Gemini, the house of communication, writing, childlike curiosity, friendliness, fun, daily life, is aligned with the house that is about family and ancestors and your roots, your foundation of your life. And so what that means is that literally your family and your roots and your ancestors could be people that you love to talk to, that you have deep conversations with, or maybe not even deep, but like conversations that really fuel your life. And maybe you love to learn facts and ideas from your family, from your ancestors. You love Ancestry.com and studying where everybody came from and like learning about who you are based off that. And really, also it could talk a lot about if you are born with Gemini in the fourth house, I would really recommend, if you don't feel connected with your inner child, working on connecting with your inner child, because your inner child has a lot to do with your roots and your foundation of your life. And it was also the moment that you were surrounded by family, right? This is the house of family. And if you can connect to your inner child, then and have conversations with your inner child. Journal and like write letters to your inner child, or like journal and let your inner child write letters to you. If you're connected and have conversations and curiosity for your inner child, which also Gemini is playful, childlike curiosity. The fourth house is your roots, your structure. So if you're having playful like curiosity and you're playing with your inner child, this can have a really profound effect on your life. And can bring a lot of understanding. You can learn so much from your inner child. And if you feel resistant to your inner child, or you feel like you didn't like them, or you have shame around them, or you feel like you're struggling to connect with them, I do have a inner child video of how to heal your inner child that you can feel free to look at if that aligns with you and interests you, to help you connect more. And so speaking to Jupiter in the fourth house, Jupiter, the planet of abundance and gifts from the universe and miracles, wants to bless the fourth house for you. So it wants to bless your connection, your communication with your family, with your curiosity and childlike play, with your family and your ancestors and your foundation and your structure. So it's kind of happening in two ways. It's going to happen in an extrovert way and an introvert way. An extrovert way with your family and your ancestors. Maybe you do some ancestral healing. Maybe you release ancestral trauma during this time, which is huge, such a weight off of our lives and karmic structure. Maybe you have incredible conversations with your family. Maybe you reconnect with your family and forgive and release childhood trauma, which again, my inner child video is also about childhood trauma. So only if it aligns with you, but I keep getting pings from the universe that are like, that could be really big for you. And then on an introvert way, it's having those conversations with your inner child, with what you feel like is the structure and the foundation of who you are, your life, your beliefs. That will bring you so many blessings. It can help you understand more about who you are. It can help you release any weight, trauma, things that are in your energy systems, help you connect with yourself, with your family, with your ancestral roots, with who this structure of you is, and then give you a beautiful foundation to move forward with your life. Or maybe while that's all happening, you're just continuously, I would guess, also moving forward with your life in abundance. So that's Jupiter in the fourth house. Jupiter in the fifth house. The fifth house is all about creativity, creative projects, self-expression. It's about romance and sex. It's also about children, okay? Which is an interesting one, but but if you think about it, children are very confident in expressing themselves. They're very creative and playful. They're very, also sex and romance brings children, right? So anyways, so if Gemini is in the fifth house for you, then the way that you would really be able to channel your creativity and self-expression would be through communication, through writing, through your daily life, through your childlike play and curiosity for the world. Also, you might find that in your creativity and in your self-expression, you might feel like there's a bunch of different paths you want to go on and you get distracted and you change them. Again, use writing, use communication as a tool to hone in on one path and make progress there. And then also, if you have Gemini in the fifth house, the way that you have romance and sex will very much be through communication and through writing and through curiosity and childlike fun and play, which is a beautiful way to align with romance and sex, like the way that you might notice, and it's beautiful to know about yourself, that you feel more comfortable sexually and self-expressing yourself in that way, or expressing yourself in that way, is going to be by communicating with your partner. Maybe you want to start with communication and then you feel more intimate, or it's not that you need to feel intimate or anything like that, but just if that's something that you're looking for in your life. And also letting your partner know that. Let your partner know, like, I really need communication here. And so if Jupiter is blessing this part of your life here, it is blessing your conversations about self-expression and creativity and your curiosity about self-expression and creativity. And it's just blessing your self-expression and creativity. It is blessing your romance and your sex. It is blessing, if you have children in your life, it is going to help you have amazing conversations with your children. Also, just to touch on Gemini in the 5th house, in regards to your children or just children in your life, using communication, using childlike curiosity and play, using writing, these are all beautiful tools to connect with the children in your life in the way that you probably naturally find yourself doing. But, trying not to resist that and lean into that, using those tools to, make your life even flow even more and even more brilliant. And so, again, if Jupiter is in the 5th house, you are having blessings through the children in your life. Maybe you have children. Maybe you're getting blessed with a child. So if that's not something you're interested in, keep an eye on it. You're definitely getting blessed in romance and in sex. Again, through communication is a great tool to use to bring those blessings on. You are getting blessings through self-expression and creativity. Use your communication, use your childlike curiosity and play and friendliness and fun to learn how to express yourself more. The more that you can express yourself over the next year and the more that you can play creatively as a child for fun, for curiosity, not because you need to pump out 1 million gorgeous paintings this year. That might just naturally happen, but actually where the miracles and abundance is going to happen and come from is if you let yourself express and let yourself be creative in a childlike way, in a fun, explorative, curious, playful way. So if you are a painter, for my example, or whatever creative form you love, don't do it because it needs to be perfect or because you want to get it done. Do it just to do it. Do it to have fun. Do it to learn. Do it to be curious about your life. Do it to express yourself and learn about yourself through it. If you are channeling this form of expression, you will just learn about yourself. So do it simply for curiosity. Do it for play. Do it to have fun. Let it be your version of what you would define as unattractive or ugly. Don't finish it. Just do it to do it, okay? And there will be a lot of abundance and miracles that come through this. And you'll probably learn a lot about yourself and the world and your romance and your intimacy and how you express yourself. Your self-expression will flow more in this part or this next year. Also through your conversations is another great way to channel that in writing, talking to yourself. Okay, so Jupiter in the 6th house. So Jupiter in the 6th house is all about work, health, daily routine. And what I mean by work is it's not necessarily your life purpose or your vocation. It is about your 9 to 5, what you do for money or what you do because you're I need to go to work. It could also be your life purpose and your vocation if those are the same thing for you. So the 6th house is also, because it's such a great worker, it's work, health, daily routine. If you think about the routine of life and our work schedule, the 6th house can also be a place of perfectionism, of analytical thinking. Everybody has a 6th house, but the 6th house is also a place of being a really great worker, really loyal, but again, sometimes the perfectionist and gets stuck in the analyzing mode, okay? And that can also be with your health and your daily routine. So if you have Gemini here, if you were born with Gemini in the 6th house, what that means is that the way that you work, communication, and writing are going to be great tools to help you with work. You might find that you do that for work. You are a writer. You communicate with somebody in some way, or somebody communicates with you. In work, you might also have a bunch of curiosity. You might be very fun and friendly and playful. You might find that you are literally playing for work. You might also find that Yeah, Gemini and the sixth house have a similar theme where the sixth house is about your daily routine and the Gemini can be about your daily life. So those things are kind of aligning. And for a lot of people they do, but for you especially. And also for your health, you might find that writing and communication are great for your health, which again, like having a coach, having a therapist, journaling, talking to people, these could be really incredible tools for, obviously that's more like your mental and spiritual health, but also this is the place of like your physical health too. So having those conversations and doing that writing can also open you up to more physical health as well. And it's also your communication and your writing is going to also really be a part of your daily routine. Maybe you are aware that you love to talk to people or you love to write, and that's just a part of your daily life. Also, I would say the other theme of Gemini of like playful, childlike curiosity might be really fun to help you with your work or with your health or with your daily routine, okay? And again, with the thing with Gemini where they want to go in a million directions at once, you might find that like you trying to find work or in your day-to-day routine, in just your day-to-day routine in general, if you don't have a job, or if you do in your day-to-day routine in your job, you might want to go in a million directions at once. And sometimes it might be hard for you to make progress, maybe in work or finding work or in your daily routine if you don't have a job. And so again, using communication, using writing, communicating with yourself, communicating with a coach, communicating with a friend, journaling, those can be incredible tools to help you focus and work. A to-do list. Sometimes I am wary about recommending to-do lists because you don't want to get stuck in to-do lists and like be like, oh, it has to be perfect and I have to get it all done. That's rough. But if Gemini is in your sixth house, a to-do list might be helpful to help you stay focused and stay on task and make progress. Also, if you find yourself going in a million directions in your daily routine, that's again where I would say a to-do list or just like maybe like a goal a day. You're like, I'm going to flow and whatever happens, happens. I'm going to let myself be curious and move in different directions. But this is just the one thing I want to get done today. Kind of like using communication as that tool for your daily routine and also for your health. If you find that you go in a million directions with health and you don't know where to go and you're overwhelmed, again, using writing and communication to help hone you in. And the thing with Gemini here is that like, it's not necessarily about absorbing and doing a bunch of research and collecting a bunch of facts. That is something that Gemini naturally wants to do in the sixth house, about absorbing a bunch of facts and doing a bunch of research about work, health, and the daily routine. But that will actually overwhelm you and make you go in a million directions more. So instead, sit with your intuition, with your heart, with your highest excitement, talk to somebody about it, talk to a coach, talk to a friend, talk to your partner, a teacher, a parent, or journal about it. That, like when you're a part of the conversation rather than just absorbing things, that's what's going to help you find direction. But enough about Jupiter in the sixth house. Enough about Gemini in the sixth house. Let's talk about Jupiter in the sixth house. So you are getting blessed in the part of your chart that has to do with work, health, and daily routine. Okay, so the blessings are going to come through your communication, your conversation. So again, getting a coach, having conversations, having a therapist, talking to a friend, journaling, these will all bring abundance and gifts from the universe in your work life, in your physical health, and in your daily routine. Okay, so again, fantastic things to work with. Jupiter is blessing these areas of your chart over the next year, so get excited. Okay, Jupiter in the seventh house. The seventh house is about our committed partnerships. So if Gemini is in the seventh house for you, then you might find yourself going towards committed partnerships or finding committed partnerships, which this could be a romantic partner, a business partner, a health gym partner, a best friend, a family member, like whoever you feel like are your main people in your life, your committed partners. You will find that you connect with them a lot through communication, through writing, through childlike curiosity and fun, and extrovertism as well. And again, doesn't mean that Gemini will still have some introvert as well in them, but This is about our committed partners. And so Jupiter is moving into this part of your chart and is going to bless your committed partnerships. So Jupiter is going to bring you blessings through your committed partners, okay? So either you're going to find a partner, which again could be a best friend, a business partner, a romantic partner, throughout this year. That's going to be an incredible blessing, that they're going to bring a bunch of blessings into your life, and learnings and teachings and gifts and miracles. Or the people that are already your committed partners are going to bring you these gifts. And it's not that you need to sit there and be like, hey, you're supposed to bring me something. It's just going to naturally happen, okay? And the way that you can work with this is through communication, through conversations, is definitely, and through your daily life, just let things happen. It might be slow, but by the end of the year, you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, let that happen, okay? And use childlike fun and curiosity with them. Just like listen, absorb, be playful. Or if you're like, you know, if you meet somebody and you're like, ooh, maybe I'm romantically attracted to that person, use fun and lightheartedness and play and childlike curiosity in conversations. And that could bring abundance and gifts from the universe through those conversations, okay? So if Gemini is in your 8th house, the 8th house is the house of mental health, of shared resources. This can be grants, loans. It's also the house of death and grief, okay? And it doesn't have to be the form of death as in like somebody dies. It can be the form of death as in transformation, like the old you dies and the new you forms, okay? And so if Gemini is here, the way that you really work with your mental health is going to be, again, through communication, through conversations with other people, conversations with yourself, writing, journaling. Again, I would deeply suggest for you, especially because Jupiter is here and trying to bless you in this way, to open yourself to conversations with other people, maybe get a coach, get a therapist. This year would be a great year for that and for your mental health. The Jupiter will be literally blessing and giving you abundance and miracles through those conversations, through that journaling to your mental health, okay? And maybe cause some sort of transformation, some sort of death of the old self and rebirth of the new. Also, if you find yourself having grief this coming year, doesn't mean you're gonna, okay? There's nothing here that's going to happen. It's just that the 8th house is about grief. That will actually turn into a blessing. I don't want to tell you that your sadness or grief isn't sad and painful, okay? But have you ever noticed that we actually learn the most from challenges than we do from things being easy, okay? So, of course, your grief is valid. But yeah, just know that the universe might use that as a way to bless you. Everybody has grief. Everybody has an 8th house. And so also the way that this could also happen is that, or that you could work with this, is that maybe you've been carrying grief for a long time. And the way that the universe wants to bless you at this moment and give you abundance and miracles is by you finally opening up and having a conversation about that grief with somebody else. Or you journaling and having a conversation with yourself about that grief. Then huge blessings will come to you in this way. Also, in the place of shared resources. So maybe you have a loan, communication, or having childlike curiosity or writing about this or writing to the person that has a loan could bring you gifts in abundance in the form of the loan, in grants. Could be a great year for you to apply for any sort of grants. Any sort of shared resources is going to funnel blessings and abundance to you, okay? In the 9th house, the house of knowledge, travel, spirituality, religion, whatever you would like to call it. The 9th house is kind of this house that encompasses experiences, okay? So how can we learn? We learn through experiences. We learn whether that experience is reading a book, going to school, studying, gathering knowledge in that way, whether those experiences are through travel, gathering knowledge through seeing the world and other cultures, whether those experiences are through studying spirituality, religion, philosophy, any of these things, okay? And so that's the 9th house. The 9th house is got a lot of, desire for knowledge and not evolution, you're really evolving, you're really elevating things. There we go. You're really elevating through knowledge, and everybody has a ninth house, okay? And so if Gemini is in the ninth house for you, the way that you grow and have experiences and gain knowledge in this very like excited, fun, confident way, that's the ninth house, is through your conversations, through writing yourself, through childlike curiosity and facts and ideas and playing and gathering this information, okay? And so Jupiter is going to bless this part of your chart and is going to bring you an abundance of knowledge and experiences, an abundance of miracles and gifts from the universe through the forms of knowledge and experiences. So you might find a lot of blessings coming this year through books, through studying, through school, through travel. You might have blessings with travel this year and having experiences. You might have blessings with spirituality. Maybe you have a spiritual awakening. Maybe you find a beautiful church or religion that you want to study. Maybe you get interested in philosophy and you're reading a bunch of books. Abundance and miracles and gifts from God will come in this way, okay? Especially because Jupiter's there, and that's conversations, writing, curiosity. So, and also the thing that's a little bit interesting with this placement is that, like in the other houses, you might have heard that I'm talking about being careful that a Gemini trait is that they can want to go in a million directions at once. And so whatever house it's in, I try to help people understand that it's helpful to use communication and writing to stay focused in one direction to move forward, which is still a thing for you in your learning, in your travel experiences, all of these beautiful places. But also for you, you could also lean into it. Like I would say, use communication and writing every now and again to help you continue to study a path, help you continue your travel, help you continue to find religions or spiritualities that feel good to you, help you to continue to study books and go to school and things like that. But also, it's not going to be a bad thing if you go in a bunch of directions this year. If you're like, I'm reading 5 books right now and I'm watching Heather's YouTube videos and learning about spirituality and I'm traveling the world and I'm doing all of these one step here and then I take a step there and then I take a step there, you are still just going to be constantly blessed with abundance and gifts from the universe in that way, okay? So that's a little bit different for you. So let's talk about Jupiter in the 10th house. Ooh, I mean, they're all good. I love them all. But the 10th house is the house of life purpose, career, vocation, your public roles, the way the world views you, okay? The way that you step out into the world and show yourself. And so if Jupiter is here, Jupiter is blessing you through your life purpose, through your career. Maybe it's helping you to connect with your life purpose in a career and stepping out into the world of what you want to share with the world. Maybe you already feel like you know that, and Jupiter is just going to bring you abundance and miracles and help from the universe through that way to help you continue along your path, okay? And also because we've got Gemini here, we want to especially keep an eye out for communication, conversations, any writing, any childlike curiosity and playful mentalities that you can bring into this area of your life is going to enhance the blessings tenfold. And again, be aware that if Gemini is in the 10th house for you, for your life purpose and vocation, you might find yourself just going in different directions and having a hard time making progress because you're just curious and interested about so many things. So again, if you're looking for your life purpose, or if you're trying to move along the path of your life purpose or bringing yourself out into the world and sharing with the world what you want to, you are going to, communication and writing are going to be huge tools for you in your entire life to hone in one direction, to figure out what is your one direction and go that path. But specifically this year, Jupiter wants to give you miracles to help you discover and move along that path and just bless you in general, especially if you are having conversations about it, if you're writing about it, having conversations with yourself or somebody else, getting a coach, having conversations with them, getting a therapist, talking to your best friend or your parent, journaling, talking to yourself. These will be huge tools for you this year to help you move along your life purpose and sharing yourself with the world, okay? The 11th house, okay? If Gemini is in the 11th house for you, the 11th house is the house of community, okay? It's not necessarily like your closest circle. It's the people a little bit out around you. It's your friends, your community, society. It is the house of social justice, social change, the change that you want to see in the world, the justice that you want to bring to your community. It's also a very intelligent house. It can kind of zoom out and see the bigger picture, which is why it's like this society at large and social justice and social change. So there are going to be a lot of abundance and miracles that are going to come through that part of your life, through your community. And especially if Gemini is in the 11th house for you, you're always going to have a desire to have conversations with your community and with your friends, especially about social justice, social change, especially about using your intelligence to zoom out. Maybe you bring your community a lot of information because you can naturally zoom out and see the bigger picture, and then communicate about that, okay? And so Jupiter wants to bless you through your community. So definitely having conversations with your community, writing to your community, reading journalism, publications about society at large, the social change you want to see in the world. Jupiter is sending you miracles and abundance through society and community at large, through conversations and writing and your daily life, okay? So, and again, you could be pulled in a million directions. That's a Jupiter thing, because you're just so curious about these topics, about society at large and social justice and social change. So using those conversations and that writing to help you hone in and take one step at a time. But just be open to reading about social justice and social change, or having a conversation about it. Huge blessings can come through your life this year, okay? And so Jupiter in the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of like behind the scenes life, of isolation, solitude, your deepest realms of your soul, your deep inner healings, your deepest wound. But also when we look at our deepest wound and we work with it, then and we feel it, we let it be, we naturally heal it, and then we're naturally able to help other people heal that same wound. It's kind of this beautiful cycle that comes out of having a deep wound, and everybody has one, of course. So the 12th house is, like the depths of the soul, your deep wound, the way that you regain energy in isolation and behind closed doors and being alone. It's your alone time, okay? Your deep realms of yourself. And so if Jupiter is here, then your blessings are literally coming through this. So if you have desire or ability or time to take alone time to look at your deep realms of yourself, to look at your deepest wound, I would definitely recommend doing this, because the planet of abundance, miracles, gifts from the universe wants to work through this part of your life to give you abundance and miracles, okay? Especially with through the Gemini traits of communication and writing, and your daily life too. Maybe you start doing a daily meditation practice where you can really sit with yourself and go into those deep realms of yourself and have solitude. Huge miracles can come through that. Writing it with yourself in isolation, journaling, having conversations with yourself about your deep realms of your soul and your wounds, and just about you, about whatever's going on with you, and being able to have this place to just free flow, letting these things come out through your journal, is going to be a huge gifts and abundance for you, okay? Also, communication with yourself and with other people, but like let's talk about it with other people, is in your 12th house. So another way that you might feel naturally drawn, again, the 12th house is more about what happens behind closed doors, but when you're with a coach or a therapist, that is also kind of can be, you might feel called to do individual work through an external conversation. Internal work, the 12th house, external conversations, Gemini. Gemini is also internal conversations, but just so that you understand, you might find you might have the craving to do your alone work, your work of your deep realms of your soul, of healing your inner wound with a conversation with somebody else. So that could be a best friend, a partner, a parent, a teacher. Also, again, having a coach or a therapist would be really beneficial for you. But that shouldn't rule out the alone time, okay? You should, I would suggest whatever one feels like it's intuitively, or if both feel intuitively what's best for you, please do that. You know yourself the best. Your intuition is guiding you. That is the best guide that you can have, okay? But I would suggest astrologically that you give yourself alone time, meditation, journaling, whatever works for you, to be alone and be in the deep realms of yourself and your soul. And that'll bring you abundance and miracles, okay, from the universe. And also having external conversations in a safe space that are maybe just you and one other person, where you feel like you can be guided or have conversations to help you progress your deep realms of your soul, getting to know yourself, doing healing, things like that. That would bring you huge abundance and miracles as well this year. Okay, so those are all 12 houses. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this video. It is going to be an incredible year, no matter where Jupiter is. It is a full blessing. Keep an eye that if you feel pulled in a million directions at once, to try to use communication or writing, communication with yourself or somebody else, to hone in on one direction to move forward. And that'll really help bring the abundance and the miracles in this year. And I am building a community here. I love talking to you guys, so please feel free to comment below. Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like assistant, coaching, an astrology reading, any of those beautiful things. I'm here to help guide and give you lots of love and gratitude for being here. If you just want to watch the videos, thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and Jupiter blessings this year in Gemini.